Hello everyone, this is it. It's the 2022 LEGO Star Wars ATTE with Commander Cody. Now, I am not sponsored by LEGO. I bought this myself for its retail price of $140, and I built the whole thing, including Commander Cody, live over on Twitch. This is made with 1,082 pieces and comes with 8 minifigures, including Commander Cody, and then there's also a dwarf spider droid side build. We're going to look at the minifigures close up later, including Commander Cody, but first I want to focus on the main thing that you're paying for here, other than Commander Cody, the ATTE itself. Now, there's a question that I posed literally to the object as soon as I built it. Are you gappy, ATTE? And, well, look at it now. How much daylight are you seeing come through there as I rotate this around? Not a whole lot. There are a couple of slits where a little bit of light shows through. You see a tiny bit peeking through there, and I think back here, let's see, was it from the top? Oh, right there, yeah. You see it right there. Same thing from the other side, but otherwise, like all this center section has a lot of opportunity to let light through. Doesn't, because there are blockers there. There's actually some pretty darn good efficient design work here to elevate this thing, to make it feel less toy-like, to make it feel less like something from the 2010s or even the 2000s. You know, it feels more substantial, even though it is very hollow, for good reason. It actually covers itself up well. And though the interior bits are nice and accessible, okay, you see a little bit of light from this particular angle coming through here. So that could have been improved just a little bit, but it's still not too bad. Just generally the fit and finish ends up being pretty good for this as a display model. I'm quite happy with that. Let's go ahead and look at the features. It's a 6-legged walker, of course, so you've got the 6 legs that are able to articulate, but these don't really do anything other than just hang down when you pick it up. The one in the center can be moved back and forward for the sake of posing, but the front and rear ones cannot. They just hang down when you lift it by its handle. That's the convenient handle right there. So you do that, hangs down a little bit towards the front, then you put it down on the ground and you get that action right there. Sorry about that, the focus, but yeah, that's it. So there's not a whole lot of posing that you can do with the main bits of it. But of course there's the turret up here, the large turret that is able to angle up down to the sides as well. Has just a single spot for a minifig to sit there. Unfortunately, there are no studs whatsoever. So the minifigure, I think it's intended to be a play feature where you can knock the figure out of the gunner's seat, but would have been nice to have the option to just rotate a piece to either have studs or not. And this does have the stud or tile shooters on the side, so you can still shoot something physical with it. And then you have all these turrets here as well, which are the usual old fare, 4 of them, 2 up here, 2 down here. You got your lights there. We'll take a look at the interior stuff soon, of course. And then you got these back here, which are able to move around, again, the normal ways. Aside from the overall exterior look of this as a display piece, what's most important to me is what it looks like on the inside, and actually not just what it looks like, but what it can do. It is fundamentally a troop transport. It needs to be able to transport troops, and guess what it does? Thank goodness it does. Those are 5 seats right there, but that's deceptive because you can fit more people. So this is your little rear gunner's position with a single sticker for the console there. That looks actually pretty nice for the yoke. But this is deceptive because you can put 2 more figures easily here. You can put a total of 7 easily because 1 can stand there. They can also sit, but it's a little bit tricky. I recommend standing a figure right there on those 2 jumpers. And then over here is a weapons rack that's easily removable. Only holds 2 items, but if you take that out, then you can stand a figure over there. You can also stand a figure right in the middle. Again, that one's a little bit more tricky, but you can easily, without any modifications, at least put in 8 figures in this space, 7 comfortably. You also get the nice stainless steel coffee mug over here and something to provide a little bit of fire safety in this space. The forward compartment, meanwhile, provides a similar storage, just a little bit more compacted in there, a little bit more cramped. So this is supposed to hold just 2 figures, but if you remove this weapons rack here, which has a couple of thermal dets on it, remove this ammo crate here, which just holds, in this case, it's got the electro binoculars, macro binoculars in there, but you can also put studs in there for your top turret. Those 2 can hold minifigures standing as well. And again, in the center, you can put yet another one. So you can easily put 4 figures right here And you can also put a 5th in if you want. They've also made this easier to access for just the 2 main seats by allowing this to simply be lifted out. So you don't have to do finger gymnastics to get the figures down in there. This also, incidentally, intentionally or not, makes it easier to get figures back here. Just get some more stuff out of the way. So there's really good, basic, fundamental design work that's done here that just makes it something that's easy to play with and invites you to put figures in it, plenty of them at that, more than are included in the set, and invites you to get in there and put them in, take them out, deploy them and stuff, which is exactly what I want out of something that's intended to be a troop transport in the first place. You can also do some work on it because they included the wrench there, and then there's the cockpit section. This unfortunately only holds a single person, but that's fine. The driver sits there. You got the 2 yokes. That's cool. And with everything opened up, you can see just how much of this is designed to accommodate figures and other things on the inside. The only interior space of sorts that may have been available that isn't usable to us is just this section right here, which is about 8 studs long in the center. And that does accommodate the handle, which is a really good feature to have. I would not want to be without that. The only thing that I find is possibly a solid piece of room for improvement here is just access to this section by way of the top. If this was able to angle back more, that would definitely be just dandy. But as it is, again, you do have this removable tray, so I think that that's a fine compromise. The side build of the Spider Droid is fine as is. There's nothing innovative about this design. I'm glad that they still have the clear piece underneath so that if you get the feet all wonky and weird and then you want it to look like it's actually on the ground, then you just push down on it, push the legs down, and it's set. That's great. Please always continue to do that, Lego. People who don't want that clear piece there can simply remove it. But otherwise, this has the ability to angle its head up and down and independently. The barrel here can also be angled up and down awkwardly. And you can move this around, I guess, if you want to, but you don't need to. And the individual joints of the legs can be moved. This, again, is just fine as it is. Looking at minifigures, of course, I have to start with Commander Cody. Not only that, but Phase 2 Commander Cody. I am so glad that I am not a minifigure hyper fanatic because I was able to not completely lose my mind over the introduction of this figure. Yeah, it's a Phase 2 Commander Cody, and it looks decent to me. I think the Phase 2 faces could definitely have a lot more sharpness to the mouth hole thing. The breather holes could look a little bit larger, relatively speaking, and definitely the old visor is too long for the Phase 2s. It works fine, I think, for the Phase 1s to this day, but for the Phase 2s, yeah, it definitely shows its age. But hey, we got it in orange, the entire pack of these accessories in orange, which is great. So I definitely will celebrate and appreciate that. The dude over on the right is it's just a gunner. It's a 2/12 gunner. It's not that big of a deal because it's not Phase 2 Commander Cody, These helmets have had a mixed reaction out there because the hole is there, and I've heard some feedback that it should have been lined up down here, but if you look at the geometry, basically, long story short, they would have had to make a new version of this set of parts that includes the visor, which ideally they would have, but obviously they did not have the budget for this set to do that. But in order to get that hole to be down here, this visor would need to have been redesigned to be different in order to clear, in order to be able to lift it up, which they do want to be able to do for other figures sharing that design. And this is still able to accommodate all the old ones, the tens and hundreds of thousands of old ones that are still on the market. So there's that too. The designs, I think, on these torsos look really good. Obviously, Phase 2 Commander Cody should have mostly white arms with a lot of orange detailing on them as well. I think this is an okay compromise, personally. Ideally, everything should be printed 360 degrees around. Everything should be better. But between having the arms be white with just an orange pauldron print, which is probably what they would have done, that only makes contact along the sides, and then you see a big white gap behind that. And doing the full orange arms, I think I personally prefer this. It's just more striking, looks more interesting. And underneath, look at that. He gets his own unique angry clone face. That's the new angry clone, specifically Commander Cody with the scar over the left eyebrow, So that's good. And then we just have normal updated clone there. Yeah, these, as far as I'm concerned, these are both good figures. And then there are these 3 just regular 2/12th troopers. They are identical except for the weapon of the one on the right. This is great. I actually want to take a little bit of extra time to just stay right here and just look at these, because these are in addition to the commander unit, who is still a trooper, just high-level trooper, and this specialized trooper. That's a lot of just troopers that are all compatible with one another to include in one set. And if anybody from LEGO happens to watch this, I want them to get the message that this is appreciated. Just troops, just regular troops. It's a good thing. It's very much appreciated, not only by the crazy, hyper AFOLs and teens who display things in army build and, investors and speculators and everything, but kids too, and normal people too, like to have troops for their troop transports and troops for their displays and troops for play as well. Each of these has the exact same updated clone head underneath, so these are all going to look just like the gunner did. This is just really good stuff, with one exception here. One of these things is not like the other. If you look at the hip print right there, perfect. Look at the hip print right there, it's too low. Hip print right there, it's lower still. There's slight deviations between the prints and the registration on the helmets as well. Like that one's pretty good. The gray's a little bit higher, the black's a little bit low. I can't quite tell which. Here, the black is either a little bit higher or the gray is slightly low. This one's actually pretty good. But those are minor things that I'm okay with. This is starting to push it, and I think that LEGO needs to continue to focus on quality more, because they definitely slipped a bit over the past few years. Finally, the last figures are troops. Regular battle droids. What do you know? And they've got the in my opinion, very nice gunmetal gray colored medium blasters, which is nice. Otherwise, they're just plain tan, line them up and knock them down droids. Again, good to have, and very massable, of course. The leftover pieces include these and these. Hey, that's nice always. And then the sticker sheet looked something like this. Honestly, it wasn't that overwhelming of a number of stickers. As usual, the grays don't match fantastically well, but it's acceptable to me in this set. It feels really weird that this costs so much less than the Justifier Cad Bane's ship, $170 US for that thing, but this does so much more. Yes, this is smaller than the Justifier, but not only does it do more, but it is more. It's for $140 US. Now, is $140 US a lot? It is. But at least you get good stuff here, and plenty of figures, including Commander Cody. I'm very happy with this. I'm much happier with it than I thought I would be. And I say that as someone who is an original trilogy fan, first and foremost. Way more than I am a fan of the prequels and of Clone Wars and everything, which is all good content. But I'm just not automatically in love with everything that is prequel era related or Clone Wars related. But I like this. I like it a lot. I respect it very much. I respect the design decisions. I appreciate how good it looks on display for old folks and young folks alike. And I appreciate how much it will do, how many things you can do inside of it for young folks and old folks alike. There's just a lot of good here. It's 140 euros also is the base price in Germany, but the price in the UK is interesting. It's 120 pounds. That's a surprise, to be sure, but a wicked one. Definitely a good surprise there. So I think in the US we could get this down to 120 on sale. Yeah, right. A big Star Wars set with Commander Cody going on sale, not gonna happen. No. So 140 is where we're at with it. I remember when you could get an AT-AT like that for what, 100? 120 at the most. Remember when it went up above that? Now those are what, 160 or something like that? you almost get more stuff here for 140 than you do with those. And I say that as someone who is a big fan of AT-ATs and not a fan of AT-TEs in particular. Like this just, it carries a lot of troops. It's well built and it has a lot of troops in it too. This is a good set. And by today's whack standards, it's actually kind of a decent value too. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this, including the parts about Commander Cody, and I'll talk to you again soon.